Get to some breaking news. This just coming in within a matter of minutes. So right here on your screen, this is National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. He's expected to leave that post. That's according to reports from NBC News. So let me give you some background. National Security Advisor Michael Waltz is expected to depart his post, according to numerous media reports citing anonymous U.S. officials. Now, NBC News has not independently confirmed these reports. Waltz, a former Florida congressman, came under fire in March after a journalist was mistakenly added to a group chat with other top administration officials about U.S. military plans in Yemen. Screenshots of that signal chat were shared by The Atlantic, show that a user named Michael Waltz initially added the magazine's top editor, Jeffrey Goldberg, to the high-level discussion. Again, this has been a point of controversy since that chat was leaked and since that report came out. Again, as you see there, Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor, expected to leave his post with the White House. All right, so we want to shift now and stay in D.C. because right now President Trump was just speaking, but that is That's Dr. Phil right there at the podium. So President Trump is attending a national day of prayer at the White House. Again, he spoke, and that is Dr. Phil on the podium. Let's listen in to what Dr. Phil is saying right now.
And when nobody's listening and nobody's looking, this man cares about every single person in America, independent of race, color, creed, whatever, and it comes from the heart with him. And I am proud to call him my president, and God bless you, Mr. President. God bless you. God bless you. And don't be so surprised when millions of people watch my interviews.
No, I know. I'm very impressed.
When it's tens of millions. With me, it's millions. You're 10x whenever I talk to you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much. Be careful.
And thank you for letting me be on this commission.
We love it. Be careful, Phil. I asked him, please be careful, Phil. We don't want you falling. Because when you fall, it doesn't work. That's been proven. That's been proven. But he doesn't fall. He doesn't know how to fall. I also want to look at Bishop Robert Barron, who's been so great. Bishop, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great job. Pastor Paula White, if you would stand up, Paula, please. Thank you very much. Rabbi Meir Solovey-Chek. Rabbi, how are you, Rabbi? Thank you very much, Rabbi. Good job. Kelly Shackelford. Good. Nice seeing you, Kelly. Ryan Anderson. Thank you, Ryan. These are great people. Carrie Bowler. Hi. Hi, Carrie. Attorney General Pam Bondi, star. This is a star. Thanks, Pam. That's great. Secretary Scott Turner. Scott, thank you. As well as a man, he has really an excuse. It's Cardinal Dolan, and Cardinal Dolan is in Rome. I just left Rome. It's a beautiful service. But he's in Rome having to vote for the next pope. I got extremely upset. I said, you can't do that. This is much more important. He was actually torn, if you want to know the truth, which is pretty good. But he's on the council, too, and he's a great guy, and I've known him for a long time. I'd like to ask, if I might, to have Dan Patrick, one of the most highly respected men in politics. We worked on something having to do with your governor. We worked on something having to do with school choice, and we knocked it over the fences first to really, and that's the ultimate school choice in Texas. And he's been fighting for it for years, and we got it over the line pretty easily, as it turned out. So please come up and speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for making this happen. Thank you. Mr. President, thank you for establishing what I think will be one of the most important presidential commissions in history. It will be one of your great legacies, of which you will have many. We have in this country we have a magnificent inheritance of religious liberty. And every believer today, no matter your faith, has a claim to that inheritance. We were a nation birthed by prayer, founded on the Judeo-Christian ethic, to ensure that people could worship as they wished without interference from government, but that is no longer the case. The last administration attacked people of faith for 4 years. There's a saying that no one should get between a doctor and a patient. I think we would say no one should get between God and a believer. No one should get between God and those seeking Him. There are so many people in this country, they may even have a family, they may have a job with a lot of employees, but they're alone, and the only person they can turn to is someone who's not listening, but they can turn to God because He is their refuge and He is their wellspring of hope. And no one, no government, no school district, at any level of government or in the private sector should say to someone, you can't pray here or where. That is our right. That is our right. And Mr. President, you have given us an incredible committee. I'm a little overwhelmed. I feel like a pair of brown shoes in a room full of tuxedos, if you want to know. These are high caliber, the foremost faith leaders, scholars, thinkers that you've put together. So on this day, Mr. President, on this day, you are restoring the hopes and the prayers of millions upon millions of believers of all faiths. There's never been a president who has invoked the name of Jesus more than you. There's never been a president who says, yes, I love Jesus, but I love people of all faiths, as Dr. Phil said. You have a heart for every American, and you're showing that today. I'm proud to represent you as chair, proud to have Ben Carson as our vice chair and every member of this committee. We will serve you, we will serve the people, and most importantly, we will serve God. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Dan. Beautiful. You're going to do an incredible job. He came to me with this idea called Paula, called Jenny, called all of us, and it just came together. And we'll be adding some incredible names, some of the people that are here right now that have been with me from the beginning. Some sitting right over there, my friends, my pastors and ministers and rabbis. We'll be adding quite a few. It's very important. And they'll be largely, when they can, we're going to be using the White House. We have plenty of room, so we'll be using the White House to have some of your meetings. And it's a real honor to have you, Dan. You've been so respected for so long. As we defend religious freedom in America, we're also standing up against religious persecution around the world. With us today are the parents of Eden Alexander, the last living American held hostage by Hamas. Thank you. Thank you. And we don't know how he's doing, really, do we? We don't know. We think we know, and hopefully positive. 2 months ago, we were pretty sure, and looked like he was getting out, but they've toughened up a little bit, and it's a terrible thing. I know what you're going through. A New Jersey boy, Eden, moved to Israel in 2022 and was taken hostage on the vicious October 7th attack on Jewish people. And now I will tell you that's an attack that would have never happened because the money was given by Iran to Hamas. Iran had no money when I was president. They were out of money. They were bust. They had no money. They weren't giving it to Hamas. They weren't giving it to Hezbollah. They weren't giving it to anybody because they didn't have any money. They were just about bust. And in fact, I put sanctions on last night. Any oil that anybody takes from Iran is not allowed to do business in the United States of America. Which is what I did the last time. That drove them into a very bad state, and they were ready to make a deal, except for the election. Didn't turn out the way it should have. It was a rigged election, and we might as well say it. But it was totally rigged. It was disgraceful. I think it's going to go down as one of the biggest. We wouldn't have, think of it, your son would be home. You wouldn't have had October 7th. You wouldn't have had the Ukraine-Russian horror show that's going on that we're trying to stop, where 5,000 young Russians, mostly Russians, and Ukrainian soldiers are being killed every single week. 5,000 a week. So think of those parents, you know, they're from Russia, they're from Ukraine for the most part, and other people, but for the most part. And that would have never happened. It was never going to happen. No chance of it happening. Putin and I talked all the time. He knew it wasn't going to happen. I told him it wasn't going to happen. And through gross incompetence, it did take place, and it's a horrible thing. And you wouldn't have had inflation. Think of it. You wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had the horror show at Afghanistan, which I think is what gave Putin the resolve to go in and do what he did, because he looked at how badly we got out. We lost 13 soldiers. 42 were horribly injured. Nobody ever talks about them. The legs, the arms, the face, horribly injured. That would have never happened. Not even possible to have happened. And we would have been out before he was out. I was the one that got it down to the 5,000, but we were going to keep Bagram, the big Air Force base, which is 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear. That's what they do. They make their nuclear missiles, and 1 hour away from Bagram. And I said, you can't give up Bagram. They gave up Bagram, and right now China occupies Bagram. So sad, so crazy. One of the biggest air bases in the world, among the strongest and longest runways anywhere in the world. 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear missiles. It would have been great to have. Well, we were keeping it, but they ran out of there like nobody can believe. And I think Putin saw that, and he said, wow, this is a great time I can go get, because it was the apple of his eye. I could always see that. I talked to him for hours. It was the apple of his eye, but I said, Vladimir, don't even think about it. And he wouldn't have thought about it. But when he saw that, I think that's the reason, actually, he gained some additional courage and he went in. Adi and Yael, cannot imagine your pain. I just can't. Adi and Yael. But we're all alongside of you. We stand by you, and we're going to do everything possible in a very short period of time. You know, as you know, things are heating up there. I've gotten a lot of hostages out. We were getting nobody out. A lot of them are out, but they want to do it as slowly as possible because they use them as pawns. It's a horrible thing, but we're working very, very hard to save your son. We have news coming out, both good and bad, but we're working very hard. And I have many parents seeing me. I was with hostages, 10 hostages that got out. They came about 3 weeks ago to the Oval Office right here. And they said to me, it was just terrible. And I said, interestingly, because, you know, you see there's always some heart in somebody, you think. I said, so you've seen like hundreds of Hamas, right? Yes, yes. They lived in a pipe. They didn't really live in a tunnel. They lived in a pipe that was this big. They could barely breathe. It's amazing when one was in for 305 days, one was in for over 500 days. But I got them out, and through very tough, the whole thing was very tough. I said, did you ever see any love or kindness? Like, did any of these people that were guarding you, the Hamas people, did they ever look at you and say, don't worry, you'll be all right? Or did they ever look at you and say, I'm going to sneak you a little extra bread, a little extra something for eating? Did they ever give you any hope? He says, no, not one. I said, you mean, so not one person looked at you during your 1.5 years in there? One was there longer than that. One was there a little shorter than that, different times. I said, not one. No, they used to give us a smack on the face. They would never do that. They not one. So there wasn't one person out of hundreds that said, I'm going to sneak you a little bread. I'm going to make sure you get home safely. Not one. And that amazed me, because in some really bad situations, you'd have some people like that. You'd have some people like that, but not one. I was amazed. And they were telling the truth. I mean, they were telling the absolute truth. And when I talked to them about the way they suffered, it was incredible. In fact, I'd say 4 or 5 looked very, very solid and normal, and 4 or 5 looked like they'd been through hell, but they were all through the same hell. And I looked at them, I said, I can't imagine what you've gone through, but we're going to do what we have to do. But I asked them a question. One was wearing 59, and I said, what does 59 represent? That's how many are left. I said, all right, well, get them out. I said, are they all living? No, 24 are living. I said, 24? He said, yeah, 24, only 24. So 24 out of the 59 are living, and they knew because they had just gotten out. And what are the others? The others are all dead. But I spoke to the parents of the others, and as much as you want your beautiful boy out,
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Right there on your screen live is President Trump outside of the White House speaking on National Day of Prayer, a ceremony that is happening right now.